It's Sunday, so I feel obliged to tell you what I've been up to all week, but I can tell you it's nothing very exciting. I've just been watching Jurassic World Dominion because Netflix informed me it was about to go off. Um, as if that velociraptor wouldn't have, said thanks for bringing my baby back, but can I take one of you as a quick snack? Nonsense. Anyway, I'm all on the dinosaurs side, but I'm off out for a walk first because one must walk for one's health, and then hopefully I'll have something to tell you beyond listen to all my traumas in hospital. Hello, I went for a walk especially so that I could include some photos in this video so it wasn't just me talking all week, all day, because um, I haven't taken a lot of photos or videos this week for the simple reason that I'm not that kind of person who thinks, oh, I'm in hospital, I'll film this. It has been a horrible, horrible, horrible week. Last week I was saying I've been to the doctors. I got the high cholesterol. I got booked in for the angiogram and possibly the stent. And the diet's gone really well. When I bought my scales, I was £195. And when I got on the scales on Friday, because Friday's always been my weighing-in day, I was 187. So I've lost at least £8 in the last 2-3 weeks. So that's good going. I'm still struggling to eat enough calories. Now I know I'm not going to die. I'm thinking, am I allowed to have a treat once a week? Because, say, this week, for example, is the last day of the week according to my app. And I am just over 4,000 calories in credit. And I don't think being 400 calories under my limit every day is particularly brilliant, to be honest, because you can't sustain it. And in the end, I'll go mad and I'll eat everything in Baku. So I need to work out how to factor in some treats without cocking up my cholesterol levels. So, what's happened to me this week? God, what hasn't happened to me? So this pain in my chest and in my back was still really bad, and I know that partly, I've always had anxiety, and that stops me breathing quite rapidly, but it just wasn't pleasant at all, and the more I was stressing about it, the more it was hurting. And by Thursday, I was trying to eat my lunch, and I just kept going ow every time I moved. And Stuart said, "Look, can you message your doctor, please, because I'm going to take it personally if 2 people die over this academic year, because we've already lost Rob, Welsh Rob, at Christmas with heart failure, and we didn't fancy it happening again." So I messaged the doctor and I said, look, I'm sorry to trouble you, but, these pills, they're not doing anything. I've still got all the same pains that I had before you put me on them. And I am doing everything you said. I've walked 4 or 5 miles every day. I'm eating really healthily, trying to get my cholesterol levels down. I've followed your orders. Why does it still hurt? And she said, oh, come in now. Come in now. So I spoke to Stuart. He said, yeah, just go. It was like practically the end of the day. So off I went. And I forgot, this is Baku, nothing works right. So I got a taxi to the hospital where she'd seen me last time. And when I got there, I asked for her. And they said, oh, she's not working here today. And I was like, I don't understand. Where is she? And this nurse was trying to say to me, she's somewhere else. So I messaged her again and said, where are you? And she gave me the name and location of a completely different hospital, like 3 miles away. So I went out, got in another taxi, went to this other hospital, had to start the whole procedure again with phoning the insurance. I'm not kidding, my heart was banging out of my chest. I was so stressed out. Phoned the insurance to do a load of paperwork. Eventually got through to her. She said, "Where are your papers?" I said, "In my apartment, test results and things, because I've come straight from work." She was like, "Oh, well, I'll have to try and find them because we can't do anything without them." Prints them all out, sends me back to the insurance office, back to her again. And eventually I've got everything I need. She sends me to this other desk, and they start filling out this paperwork and asking for an emergency contact number, my father's surname, which they're all obsessed with here. It's the first thing, as well as your name, they want to know what your father's surname is. And I'm always like, well, good luck with that. He's been dead 6 years, but, if you want to call him, do your best. And I realised, I thought, oh my God, this whole thing, the angiogram and possibly the stent, they're going to do it now. I'm not ready, and I haven't got Sarah with me. Anyway, I had to put Sarah down as an emergency contact because no good putting my husband or my mum, because they're like 3,000 miles away. And she rang me and said, "Do you want me to come?" And I said, by the time you come, I'll be going through it. Don't worry. Just, if anything goes wrong, can you get my phone and phone Chris, and tell him. Nick's my boss. Chris is my husband. So there I am, and I'm in this ward in one of these hospital gowns, and they're sticking needles in me, and I'm like, what the actual hell is happening? Nobody's telling me what's going on. And the doctor's saying, "Oh, it's okay, I'll be in the room with you." I'm like, in the room for what? What are you doing? I'm really scared. She said, "Don't be ridiculous. How old are you?" I said, 52. That doesn't stop me being scared. And she just laughed, and off she went. And there's this nurse, I think, he's put me up to an ECG. She stuck a cannula in this hand. To this day, I don't know why she stuck it in there, because I didn't do anything with it. And then in this hand, she just cut a big hole in my wrist. And I'm sort of sat like this, because I don't like needles. I can't help it. I just go all clammy and keel over. And then they put me on a gurney, wheel me down to this room, shove me on this operating theatre. I'm like, okay, they're actually doing this. Okay, right. Okay, well, I'm going to have to pull my pants up and get on with it, aren't I? And there's this doctor looming over me, and he says, "Hello, are you okay?" I said, "Well, no, I'm really scared." He said, "Why are you scared?" I said, "Because this is a bit worrying, and this is a big procedure." And he was like, "No, don't worry." He said, "I do this all the time. I'm one of the best." He said, pointed to the light. He said, "I cannot change this light bulb, but I can put tubes in your heart 10 times a day." And off he went. And then at this procedure, I'm not kidding, everybody says it's fine, you don't feel a thing. They're either lying or they do it differently here in Azerbaijan. So I kept my eyes closed for the whole thing. That did not stop me from feeling the whole thing. So the first thing that happened was this wrist, they cut it open again. And even with my eyes closed, I felt my arterial blood go splut and land in my hand. I was like, oh my God. And then they said, they'd put an anaesthetic in. But all the anaesthetic did was make my hand numb for about the next 8 hours. And they shoved a couple of pills in my mouth. They didn't tell me what they were. I don't know if they were some kind of sedative, but if they weren't very sedatory. And then I could feel she'd got this flaming tube in my arm and this bag of liquid on the bed next to me. And every minute or so, she's shoving down on this bag. And as she did, I can feel something like traveling up my arm and across my chest. And it was absolutely grim. And I was not a big, brave girl. I was literally going, oh my God, that feels horrible. Please, how many more times are you going to do that? And they're going, I know, we know it's horrible. We're really sorry, but you've got to do it. And I don't know how long it lasted because it was just awful. And I was all sweaty and clammy, and I kept saying, am I allowed to pass out? And they were like, no, you can't pass out. We need you to not take a deep breath. Now take a deep breath. cough for us. I'm like, oh my God, this is absolutely horrific. And eventually it was over, and the doctor ran out and she said, Nicola, your heart is fine. Keep taking the pills. Come back and see me in a month. I need to go home. I was like, oh, okay. And she left, and then she came back and said, don't go home on the bus. Get a taxi. I was like, okay. And then she was gone again. And they wheeled me back to this ward, and they said 1 hour, and then you can go home. And I said, well, you're going to take like all these tubes and things out of me, or do I have to go home with those in? And they were like, oh, no, yeah, we'll send someone to take those out. And then they just left me there for an hour. And then somebody came and pulled everything out of me and strapped up both my wrists and said, you go now. I was like, okay. So I put my clothes back on and wandered around the hospital until I found an exit, got in a taxi, got home, just got into bed, and lay there with this completely numb hand, and this horrible pain going up and down my arm from whatever they'd just been pumping through my arteries into my poor little heart. And it had the weirdest side effects. Like I spoke to Chris, and then I went to sleep because I felt like death. And I was having like every time I fell asleep, I was like, my entire body was going, no, don't sleep, do a scissor kick. And my legs were going up and down uncontrollably, and my arm felt like lead. It was such a relief just to wake up the next morning. And the next morning I must have still been absolutely trolleyed, because I got up and I walked down to the metro station, and I got on the metro. And then I thought, I don't think I'm supposed to be on the metro. I think I'm supposed to still be in bed. And I looked it up because they gave me no aftercare sheet or anything. And I looked it up, and it said, yeah, you should spend 24 hours like in bed, resting, and just, going to the toilet. Don't bend, don't crouch, don't do anything strenuous. So I just got off the metro at the next stop, walked across the station, and went back home. And it's a good job I did, because I spent most of the day fast asleep, to be honest. But I still didn't know what was going on. They'd given me like some sheets of paper with printouts, which, I'm not a medical professional. They meant nothing to me. And a DVD of the experience. You always get one of those. I got one of my leg as well. And so I asked somebody at work to phone the doctor and ask what was going on, because I couldn't get any sense out of her. And anyway, what basically came back was your heart is perfectly healthy. You've got a few jumps in your veins, which I think is probably high cholesterol, but there's nothing wrong with your heart. That's not what's causing the pain. It's probably neurological. Go and see a neurologist. And I looked all that up because I didn't know what a neurologist was either, and that was like that was pretty much it's like, trapped nerves or nerve endings, or from sitting in a funny position, which makes perfect sense, because obviously, I spent 3 months sitting in a heap with a brace on my leg, unable to get into a comfortable position. So yeah, that's probably it. So I don't think I will go and see a neurologist, because I think they'll just say to me, oh yeah, do some stretching, do some Pilates, because I have read up on it extensively, and that's pretty much the most that a neurologist will say to me anyway. Might go to one just to reassure my mother, but I don't see the point. So I'm really relieved that I'm not dying. I've got a week off work now, so that's a relief as well, because everything's much easier when I'm not working, and that gives me a week to really recover. Like I say, I'm at least 7 or 8 pounds down. I'm sticking with this healthy eating. I'm quite enjoying it. And I'm still trying to walk my 10,000 steps every day, if not 11, 12,000. So I went for a walk with Gav yesterday, because Nad still isn't back. She's not back till Wednesday. And I've been for a walk on my own today, and just made it home by the look of the sky in time to beat the weather. And just wondering what to do with my nearly 5,000 calorie deficit that I'm in for my 1,400 calorie a day diet. So yeah, that's me. It's not been a very nice week. It's been a bit mental. I'm just hoping next week's better. And I feel better psychologically for knowing that there's nothing wrong with my heart apart from cholesterol, and I can reverse that. I'm just really confused. Like, keep taking the pills. Why? Keep taking the heart pills. There's nothing wrong with your heart, but keep taking the pills for your heart. So at some point, I've got to get through. Do I go back in a month? Do I not? I don't know. So somebody at work's going to have to help me by speaking to the damn doctor again there. But yeah, this week I met a dog called Bruce yesterday, which is a name that's second only to Dave, as far as I'm concerned, in dogs. And Sarah said we'll get together. We'll take her dog for a walk this week, which I'm really looking forward to. Went out with Gav yesterday, day by myself today. Going to see John and Varony and go to the bank tomorrow, send my money home. Go see Sarah maybe on Tuesday, and then fill the rest of the week up with walking and making diet food. Yeah. So not my best week. Possibly one of my most interesting weeks as far as I'm concerned for experiences I have lived through. Never want another angiogram ever again. Really glad they didn't shove a stent in me, because if I couldn't cope with the liquid going through my system, God knows what I'd have done if they'd started sending balloons through me. And just hoping the bruising fades soon. So that's me. Enjoy my walk and peace out. I love these green spaces. When you're sitting under a tree, you've got to worry that a bird might poop on you any moment. Grab your jacket and your shades. We leave the Formula One stuff up all year, so that's part of the paraphernalia for the race, which I won't see because they've moved it to September this year. I'll be gone by then. I love it here at my crossover point because that's where the massive hotels are, big buildings. These are the iconic ones. I have no idea what they're for or what they are, but I know in Baku everyone's always trying to build the next big thing. Tiny Dubai. And this is how you know spring and summer are coming, because they've started to turn the fountains back on. They're not all on yet, but this one's been on for a couple of weeks now. Best things about this city, you can get under every road on these underpasses, and they don't smell of weed, and they're made of marble. See, this one's nice and quiet. Some of them have shops and things, some of them have buskers, a lot of them have like historical things and pictures of architecture. This is a quiet one that'll bring me out on Boulevard, which is what I need. Hop on this, try not to kill myself. Now all I have to do is avoid being trying to be sold a package tour of something when I go for my walk. The fountains aren't on here yet. I'm assuming they're waiting for the big tourist members. Plus, it's not a very nice day today, so it won't be busy. Everywhere's quite quiet. It is open again. Let's sit down. It's thick black cloud approaching, and I'm about 2 miles away from home. Am I going to make it home? Am I going to get pissed wet through? No. I love these little pods. It's like you're not going to let a little thing like the weather stop you having tea. Off Boulevard because of the weather. This is Fountain Square, or the area around. and I cannot believe how rammed it is. Holiday season has definitely started early this year. And then we're out of tourist land, back into shopping land, and heading back up to 28 May. It's not quite as pretty round here, but then again, it's not full of tourist traps either.